Hi singers, I'm Amy Poole, vocal coach of Singing with Amy. Let's do a short exercise here today on basically how to approach notes in terms of how we think about them. Particularly with the high notes, we think, oh my god, they're so high, I'm going to tense up, I'm going to squeeze, and hopefully I'm going to fluke it. But instead I want you to reverse your thinking and just calm it down a little bit, have a bit of fun with the singing, and how to approach them so that they're not so difficult. And let's really dumb it down and think of how we speak. When we shout someone, for example, when we're upstairs and we're shouting a friend, hey, can you grab me this? We're just kind of thinking and just throwing it out there. And that speech-like approach is what we need to think of in singing. Because if we were to sing, hey, grab me some of this, we'd really force it out and we'd kind of struggle with it a little bit. But why is it that speaking high is much easier than singing? Well, it's probably because we're just overthinking and we're thinking about how it sounds when we sing rather than how it feels and doing it correctly. So I just want to take it to level 1 and how we can approach our vocal exercises with singing and use the speaking to really help us get the notes healthier and correctly. A great exercise is on B, that's B-U-H, because that will keep the larynx nice and neutral with the B, with the dopey tone. If we do an A, for example, which is a lot brighter, we can risk the larynx going up and down. Okay, so I'm going to approach this on around a C note first, and I'm going to do this in singing. I am a vocal coach, so I do sing every now and then, but I mean singing it so that I'm kind of overthinking it a little bit. Now I know that kind of sounds okay. There's a little bit where it pushes a little bit. And that's extremely common with singers because we're kind of thinking about it. We want it to sound great. We want to be able to blast them high notes in our chest with power. But I really want you to think about talking the notes first. And this is great for beginners or even people who struggle singing high notes easily. So let's just kind of talk through the note. Think about how it feels and not how it sounds. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Get comfortable with it. Ba 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 ba. 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 Now the hard part of this is taking it down and thinking about how it feels, and all throughout that I'm getting to know my voice. I'm learning that it needs to get lighter as I get higher and not ba 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 ba. I'm not clawing my way up to the high note. I'm just thinking and allowing my body to do what it does because each voice is different, and then we can then adapt and add power. So what I want you to really think about as well is the face itself, keeping really, really relaxed, keeping it nice and loose as it's faced forward. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Just kind of popping the sound out there. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. And that's my voice personally. It is supposed to be nice and light on the ba. But for someone else, it might be ba 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 ba. It might be a lot stronger in that particular area, and that's completely okay. So then as you keep doing this, I then want you to then just get a bit more comfortable, do it a few times, and then add singing to it. So, ba 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 ba, ba 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 ba. I'm just talking through it. Ba 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 ba, and then I'm gonna just kind of add a bit more presence to it, a bit more singing style to it, work on my tone a little bit. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Just kind of joining up the dots a little bit. Ba 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 ba. I'll take it to the C now, and again I'm going to start just on talking, keeping it nice and relaxed. nice and quiet too. I'm not really blasting it out there, making sure each note has the same volume and presence to it. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. And then I'm going to join up the dots. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Even though you're joining up the dots, making it nice and smoother and a bit more singing style, the tone isn't going to be any different from your speaking. So if the way that you approach the note, ba 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 ba, ba 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 ba, I still want it to sing the same, ba 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 ba, ba 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 ba, ba 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 ba, and not change it so that you then fall back into the old routine of ba 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 ba, of really overdoing it, because that's what a lot of people do. They overdo, and a lot of these exercises are about just literally stripping it down and removing any of the tension that we have, any of the incorrect technique, and any muscles that is being used that really doesn't need to be used. So I really hope that helps. It's really great to do it just every day if you can, possibly just around the house. Ba 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 ba, ba 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 ba. And then you can play around when you're actually singing. And if you find a song really complicated and you feel like it's pushing you a little bit, but you feel like you can do them notes in a different song, then just try talking it first. That'll help you to realise what register you should be in, whether you should be in your chest, mixed, or your head. And then B, get you to kind of realise the run up to it as well. Ba 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 ba, ba 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 ba. Because a lot of the high notes are difficult because of the way that we kind of approach them from the low notes. If you start off with too much tension, too much weight, then it makes it a lot difficult to run uphill. Okay, so I hope that really helps. Like I said, try it every day. A couple of times a week would be great too. Really focusing on how it sounds how it feels, rather than how it sounds. Thank you for your time and see you soon. Bye.